Hello, Axilla here for Failhouse Gaming, and as you can see, I'm playing Heroes of the Storm. This is the PTR that was released at time of recording about half an hour ago. So yeah, I recorded a game and then I jumped off and I wanted to voice over it to basically talk about the new map. Now, I decided to play as Nova. I didn't get any of my stuff transferred over. As you can see, our Rhaegar player, he got all of his stuff. That's why he's got his Master Rhaegar skin. I'm pretty sure our Johanna player has a money pig. A good chunk of people have their stuff completely transferred over. I got none of my stuff, so I'm going to be playing level 1 Nova for this game. Yeah, I would have played Brightwing to test out the new Brightwing stuff, but the other guy was like, no, I'll play Rhaegar. So I was like, okay, just in a custom game to test out the new map as soon as we can. And just having a little talk. The PTR's a little bit sketchy, like some of the times it doesn't load. Sometimes it does, but it takes like 20 minutes. This one luckily loaded quite quickly, as hopefully we won't be on this too long. Now, I want to say a couple things about this battleground. First of all, no treasure goblin, because this was a custom game. I'm assuming it doesn't spawn in a custom game. Basically because it's a quest fulfillment, and so if you could do that in a custom game, that would be a little bit unfair. I know you can do it against computer bots. Against bots, but yeah, that's probably why they don't do it. I suppose you could like fix things and it wouldn't affect your statistics at all if you did it in custom games. I win 3 games, so you do that. At any cost, yeah, I like the new battleground, specifically for a couple reasons. Firstly, you don't actually spend that much time in lane. This is the most 5v5 just all-out brawly map so far, in my opinion. Like, you don't necessarily fight the other team straight up just in 5v5, but there's a non-laning phase. You do a little bit, and then suddenly you're fighting over the map objectives. You are doing this thing. Had a pretty easy game here, and we win every single objective. So we didn't have I don't have any footage to show you me defending against defending against the Immortals. But alas. And the second thing is the fact that I think has been timed that this could be one of the longest maps to play. And I like that. Now, normally I praise Heroes of the Storm for being a very, very quick game, but by no means like super casual. Like, the games are very competitive, very tactical from the off. But I think this map has the potential to be super long, because you can get pretty even on the Immortals. You can win quite you can win, and the Immortals have basically no health, so they're very easy to clear, very easy to take out, which means they don't do much of the pushing power. And since you've been out of lanes for a long time, you've not been pushing. So, which also does mean that the leveling is a bit slower. So I kind of like the fact that this is looking to be a very long map, and the other point of that most of the time you're just in the middle fighting over this stuff, and when you're not, you're pushing, and then it seems like there is no downtime whatsoever. And I actually comment about it in typing, basically saying that I feel the Immortals respawn too quickly. Now, as you can see, that middle arena is huge. And if you look carefully, especially on the minimap, you can see all these little like roundabout channels, which are great for people like Abathur, Zeratul, Nova, the stealthies, plus the people who want to hide quite well. Lost Vikings as well, if you want to put Eric in a little hidden spot. There's so many little like cubby holes and stuff at the bottom and top of the map, because it's quite a mirrored map, which is nice. I know they're normally mirrored, but this is a very symmetrical top to bottom map as well. So there are these little like areas where you can go round to the back of the other person's forts, basically the tier 1, go behind the tier 1s and stuff, via a couple of methods, round both ways, even the top and bottom ways. Now, it is only a 2-lane map, and then you've got this massive battle arena in the middle, and quite frankly, not much happened in the battle arena. Like, the Immortals spawn, as you can see here, they spawn, so they should come out at about the 145 mark. And yeah, they spawn, we attack their one, we defend our one, we get our Immortal every single time, which was great. And yeah, that was most of the game. Most of the game was doing these immortals. Like, you'll see the immortals themselves do very little damage to each other. That's one of the couple abilities the immortals do, which I will talk about. But yeah, the immortals don't actually do that much damage to each other. You have to really lay the beating on yourself to get an advantage. If you just ignore them, they're going to take a long time to do it, but you will get more experience, yada yada yada. Now, if you do watch our levels compared to the timers, normally hit around level 10, and about 6.5 to 7 minutes is pretty average for something like Dragonshire. Just for an example, it's one of those little timings I vaguely remember. I go with a very stupid build on over. This isn't any guide of any kind for heroes. But yeah, as you can see, we kind of cleared out our immortal from being attacked, and then we came over and attacked their immortal. Now, at the 50% mark, the immortals have a little clash in the middle, and then they swap positions. They go to a random spot. Obviously, they have to be opposite each other, but they do change. I have no idea if they can just swap positions or go back to their original positions, but I'm pretty sure they do go to a different spot. But the orientation might be different. Like, ours could be on this side and theirs could be on the opposite side, meaning it'd be easier for us but easier for them to also lay some damage down onto it. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, the experience and the levels. I think if you watch, we're just over a level a minute at this point. I know we are level 5 at the 3.5 minute mark, but we've gotten a lot of kills here. Now, our opposing team have got very few kills, if any, and they're still going to be probably still going to be level 4 by the 4 minute mark. And if not, it's very close. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, the leveling isn't nearly as quick. And on top of that, they even have an so I'm flunking my words a lot here. They even have an Abathur to help split push in that, and I think heroes like Abathur, Sylvanas, Gazlo, even Asmodan, people like that will be very good if they can just sit in the lane and push it. If you have a good composition that can do as much damage to the opponent's immortal as possible before their immortal dies, if you don't expect to win the immortal battle, you can at least have a composition that does a lot of damage. You can hold out and not die necessarily, whilst you're gaining an experience lead by having all this pushing power in one of the lanes. Specifically Sylvanas for this, just as an example. But yeah, as you can see, we got an immortal and it died very quickly. It's an early game immortal, but it has shields. I had a little bit of connection issue here. But yeah, the immortal has shields depending on how much health it's got left, and after its or depending on something, I forget. And after its shields are completely gone, it then lands. It's flying and doing lots of siege damage to the buildings at this point. And after its shield is gone, it lands and does the melee damage to the buildings. And yeah, now these 4 mercenary camps around the map. There's a new siege camp, top and bottom, and they are Khazra, which are very, very common enemies in Diablo 3, and I'm assuming the other Diablos. I haven't actually played any. I played a bit of Diablo 2 a long time ago, so I forget. But they don't do splash damage, they do single target damage, but there is 3 of them. And again, they do ranged and bonus to buildings. And the hard camps are also slightly different. They are a shaman, a Khazra shaman, and these 2 wolf boar things that you can see with as hellhounds. And basically, the Khazra shaman does some damage, but will, every single time one of those boars die, resurrect it. I'm not sure if it has a short cooldown, but he tends to do it very, very quickly. It would only have like a 2-second cooldown, if that. Just based on seeing what it's done. As you can see here, we killed our immortal died at around the 4-minute 20-second mark, and they've already respawned. That's just 2 minutes, and what did we gain from that? We gained about 2 levels in that time, which is okay, but considering we're already 6.5 minutes into this game and we're only level 8, we've not really maintained a huge... Like, there wasn't a huge experience gain. We sacrificed a lot of our experience to win the immortal. The immortal didn't do much, and so neither of us are particularly high on level. And that's something I think is going to make this map quite long. And I like that. It's going to be refreshing. And if Blizzard doesn't like that, then they'd have to tweak it, and I would recommend simply making the spawning time between the Immortals 3.5 minutes or 4 minutes, something like that, instead of the 2 minutes it appears to be. As you can see, our team is just like, yeah, it feels like the game's slower, leveling, just basically less lane time. As soon as these spawn, we are in this arena for a solid 2 minutes, basically, fighting over the Immortals. Could be longer if it's a less one-sided match. It could be shorter if it's more one-sided, although that would be tricky since we did win very, very quickly here. We were basically ahead the whole game. But yeah, as you can see, our Immortal took a lot more damage than theirs that time. Ours got to 50% before theirs did, in the little like health bars in the bottom right, which is quite nice. It also shows, I wouldn't say that's the total shield they will get or the total life remaining. It's one of the two. It's probably life remaining, but I'd like to think it's the shield that they'll get if they win, because I'm pretty sure it's just based on how much health they're missing if they win. So I'm not sure on that front. So yeah, I think that this is going to be a very, very fun map. It may be my favourite map so far, but mostly because of the crazy composition changes you can do. That you can really think about. I think because you spend so much time per objective on this. I mean, Black Heart's Bay, you spend a few seconds doing the chests. Cursed Hollow, maybe a minute fighting over a tribute. Yes, they can be longer, but they're not particularly longer constantly and consistently, rather. Dragonites can fight for a long time, but you're laning all that time as well. So I think that because you're out of lane and the fights over the Immortals can go quite long, I think this may be one of my favourite, maybe one of the more diverse as far as team composition goes, because you could pick 2 really good split pushers and then 3 people who are pretty good at a 1v1ing, or just a solid core group of 3. Say you pick up a healer like a Rhaegar or Lily, something, or even a Brightwing, because I can split push and she can split push and then jump in. And then you take a high damage assassin plus a tank, so a Joanna Jaina maybe, and you just you go and fight for them there. You've got a good amount of sustain, not hugely likely you're going to die on those 3, and you're getting a much bigger experience advantage. Similarly, you can go for an all-out 5-on-5. You can go for a very, very strong team fight composition, sacrificing experience for the benefit of being able to push super hard with a very strong Immortal. Similarly, Abathur would be, I think, this might be his one of his better maps, since you can just jump in any of the nooks and crannies, which you might see in a little bit, because I do go down a couple, I promise. If you remember, I went up one on the top just a minute ago, a few minutes ago rather, but yeah, he can hide in so many places and quite effectively, and just split push and make and go for the split push kind of Locusy Abathur build, make that really, really quite a dangerous thing. And yeah, that'd be another conversation. Obviously, with the Abathur, you lead up for heroes like Illidan still being very, very strong. Kerrigan could see some play again. I mean, I can't remember what changes, if any, she has had. Let me just very, very briefly see if she has had any changes. Yada, yada, yada. Yes, she has. Ultras can now be retargeted after death. Okay, well, that's not useful whatsoever. But you could see somebody like a Sonya or a Kerrigan, these squishier, in-your-face heroes with an Abathur being quite good in this, because you get these big engagements, which can be quite spread out, can be quite tight, and you also get these just constant fighting. I think Kerrigan is particularly good at the lower levels, or rather she's much better at the lower levels than she is at the high levels. She doesn't scale nearly as well, and as a result, but she is quite strong in the early game because of her good stun and her pull, and she has a decent amount of sustain for the most part. So if you put a Kerrigan in here, and since you're going to stay quite low levels for a long time, that could make Kerrigan a very, very effective hero here, because she'll maintain her early level advantage for a lot longer. As you can see, 12-minute mark, our opponents are getting crushed quite heavily here, but they are on level 12. At the 12-minute mark, I mean, again, we're only level 14 at the 12-minute mark, and that is not nearly the same equivalent levels you would be in on most other maps. So yeah, I think we get a entirely full Immortal here, and in fact, looking at the Immortals' health and stuff, I'm not too sure if they do that much damage to each other or not, and I think it... Oh god, I can't remember. I'm gonna get some comments saying, it was this, you idiot, but I think it may be actually based on the amount of damage that heroes do to the opponent's Immortal, the amount of shields they get. I don't know, I forget. At any cost, this Immortal gets a huge amount of shields, huge amount of health, and this is one of the few I actually push with, I think. So you'll get to see the Immortal in action a bit more here. So yeah, that little thing there I just went through. Sorry for being quite a little bit. I was just thinking I'm ranting a lot during this, but it's basically a little highlight. This is the new map, and my thoughts on it. I hope that this map gets played a lot competitively, because I think it will be one of those ones you can get some really, really funky compositions out of. I think it's one of those you can get a lot of good, long, close games. Since, I mean, even the objectives, you don't necessarily have to contest each other over. You could not see your opponents the entire game, and it'd still be a very, very close game. So on that, we basically just push in here and win with this. Or in a couple moments, we back off here after taking their multiple, because, I mean, it's only 2 lanes, so there's no real... Oh, as you can see there is actually a gate in the middle which you can go through, or you can destroy and go through, which gives a quick passage to your hard camp to defend it. It also allows you to potentially sneak in and get some Abatha kills or stuff like that on your stealthy heroes. Maybe go for a cheeky backdoor if the wall isn't gone, that sort of thing. So that's something to note. And I think the map design is particularly good just because of the amount of cubby holes, the smoke vents, just the layout, the little impassable bits, so many bits of debris and stuff that I actually think this is a very, very well designed map. It allows for more heroes to be more effective, and yet it doesn't reduce the effectiveness of heroes that benefit from different map types. Yeah, this was me saying I think they respawn a bit quick here. Just because, I mean, we just backed off after, like, our Immortal, and we took the keep, our Immortal fell, maybe not in that order, and then had time to back out. I hit B, regened all my health at the fountain. As soon as I got back into lane, boom, Immortals are spawning. I'm like, okay, great, I've had no lane time. So it may be something that they adjust, although right now, as far as when this launches, I don't think it will have changed, because this is PTR, which is basically test this, but this is mostly how it's going to be. They don't normally change things for balancing. It's mostly like a bug finder, at least it tends to be a good chunk of the time. So yeah, I mean, our Immortal has taken some damage here, but when it was taking damage from their Immortal, it wasn't actually losing the numbers underneath it. So I'm pretty sure that those numbers are the amount of shields it gets. Or the total amount of health plus shields. No, that doesn't make any sense. It might do, I don't know. But yeah, when you capture an immortal, it indicates the big green crosshair where it's going to go on the map, top or bottom lane, and it will, gather up there. I don't know if your opponents can see it because our opponents never won one, but I'm pretty sure they can. And if not, they can react to it perfectly quickly anyway with just jumping to defend their turrets, their forts and towers. Sorry. Now it always goes to the middle of the lane, but it does move very quickly to the points of combat it wants to be. As you can see, our immortal, our angel immortal, is flying and just dealing lots of damage from being up in the air, and as soon as its shields go, which it will very shortly, there you go, drops to the floor and starts to do some meaty ground pounding. This one we pushed with. Now, I think this was 5th immortal. I mean, an 18-minute game, 5 objectives doesn't seem all that many, but if you think about it, if you got 5 barrages in Blackheart's Bay, not that many. 5 curses? That would be a lot. That would be, more than you could possibly get. Same with Dragonites, I think, or close to, just because they tend to last longer. The Immortals, they're really good for pushing, but they really don't survive very long. So yeah, sorry about all my ranting and rambling and all of that jazz. Thanks for watching. Please hit me down with your ideas about the new map, your opinions on it, anything like that in the comment section. I've been Axilla ranting, and thanks for watching. Until next time, guys.